Alright, thought I'd show you guys everything I have done so far, and then I'll show you guys how I go about making some of the pieces. So, you guys seen the hammer and different pieces there, but here's a spring I got from a pencil, just a mechanical pencil. That's probably where I'll get most of it from, just pencils and pens. Maybe some hair clips for bigger ones. Plunger is just toothpick wrapped around with some paper. I'll probably fill that center part with baking soda and super glue, and then I'll just round it off. It's just a plunger, it pushes the trigger guard up. And then here's the actual Makarov casing, 9 by 18 millimeter Makarov. Here's a 22, and there's that 177 pellet. So trigger guard is done. All I have to do is drill a hole through it and then cover it with baking soda and super glue and sand it a little bit. Well, it's almost done. So that'll probably be my next video. So now I'll show you how I make some of the parts, and I'll start with this rear portion here. So all I did was, on that template sheet, I put a piece of paper over it and I traced out the parts I need onto another. This is like cardstock. So I traced out and then I cut that. And I do that instead of printing out that same template a bunch of times because ink is expensive, but that would probably give you more accurately made parts, I guess. So, and sometimes I tape this part down to the paper. I tape it for longer to move around, so like the trigger guard. But this one I can just put my fingers over it, just move around. Alright, so then I get that. This is just for single sheets. Normally I would cut it or trace it out on here. I can do that now. I cut out the single sheet ones just so I can get it the right width. If I need to increase the width only a little bit. And then, because each time, this is 3 layers of paper glued together, and that's just short of 3 millimeters. So then I'll cut it out. For this, I'll use an X-Acto knife for this, but for this, just use a piece of paper, or a pair of scissors. It's a lot faster. Whatever. I'm doing a single sheet because this part, which I've already made, needs to be a little bit thicker than it is. And then you just glue it on. Should be pretty self-explanatory there. Let's see if I can speed this up. That might be kind of cool to do. That, just grab some scratch paper or whatever, spread it out. Alright, then you press it real good. I think Takumi uses pliers sometimes to squeeze it together. And then it's not perfectly aligned, but you can still move it around while it's wet to line it up better. Okay. And then you can see here it's a little bit bigger. That's because I cut it along the outside of that outline, so it's going to be a little bit bigger when you do that. You should be cutting on the inside, but that's alright. This part's not terribly important, and you can just take an X-Acto blade and just trim it off, and then you'll get a perfect fit for it. And then I need this to be 1 millimeter thick, so that's, you know, 0.039 inches. So I can just measure it here. And there you go. That's pretty good. That's almost perfect. Oh, if you guys can see it, I hope it's in focus. There you go. So that's it. Just do that for every part and glue them all together. Okay, and here's what I mean by tracing over the original template, whatever. Just move everything out of the way. I'm using just scratch paper. It's better if you have it blank on both sides, because if there's print on it, it's harder to see. So just lay that over, trace over it. And I left this part unfinished on purpose, because as you can see, me just freehanding it's a little squiggly and it irritates the shit out of me. So for the parts I left, I didn't draw in. I can just connect it with a ruler and get it straight, and it will piss me off slightly less. There you go. I also left, there's some holes here that you're supposed to drill. I'll drill out later, whatever. I didn't draw them in because it's going to be stupid cutting through that, cutting circles that small. So I'll just make it without those holes, and then once I'm finished, once I get to this thicker point, I'll drill through it.